The SEC has been talking for quite some time about moving to a 9-game conference schedule. Every other conference has moved to a 9-game conference schedule. The ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12. It was just the SEC left over. And there was a lot of other people from other conferences, a lot of sports people that were saying, well, the SEC only plays 8 conference games. That should automatically knock them down. They're not the best conference. They don't play the toughest schedule, yada, 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 yada. All right, you can't say that anymore. The SEC starting next season. They will have a 9-game conference slate. They will still play a Power 5 opponent every year. So that's 10 Power 5 opponents that you are playing, which matches what the Big 10 does. I believe the Big 12 and the ACC also do that as well. You get 2 other opponents that you can play. So I'm not sure if they're doing what the Big 10 does and forcing their schools to play FBS opponents, or if they're still allowed to play an FCS opponent. I know the Big 10 does that. I don't know what the SEC is going to do as far as that right there. Haven't seen that. But with this 9-game conference schedule, there will be 3 permanent opponents that you will play every single year, alternating home and away sites. And then the other 12 teams in the conference, you will rotate playing them. The goal of this will be, if you stay on campus for 4 years, you will play every single team in the conference at least twice and get to play at their home stadium, and you get to play them at home as well. So, your thoughts on this, Jake?
Oh, I love
Do you
it.
love it or do you hate it?
Oh, I mean, give me more SEC matchups. Now, granted, gone are the days of probably a bunch of 10-2 SEC teams, because you
Yep.
just made it even harder. That's my experience is I got to go to a lot of games when I was with Tennessee. A lot of places I didn't get to go, and anybody knows who's talked to me. That's one of my favorite things about the sport was getting to see different experiences. I think that is amazing for a couple of reasons. I think it's great for the student athlete to get a variety of game day experiences to see what the SEC is truly about, because there is no one SEC team that is the same as another. Um, I do think that should, in theory, help a little bit when it comes to the body of work when we talk about playoff selection. I think that does nothing but help the SEC, because it's going to be rock, paper, scissors all over again, where you're going to have a triangle of people who've beat each other. So I think it helps the SEC get more guys in the playoff, kind of heading towards and alluding to the big conference, or, really you only have 2 right now. The only thing I don't like about it is my gosh, that's some hard ball to play. Just add another one in there. I'll be interested to see, though, who are they going to select as the 3, I guess, stick games that you're going to have each year. That to me is going to be the most interesting thing, because that could play a huge factor in the success and the future of a lot of programs. I mean, for example, let's say Tennessee gets Vanderbilt and Kentucky, and then I don't know, South Carolina in there. Well, what just happened to Florida, Alabama, Georgia? I mean, does that shoe
Exactly.
us in? Because nowadays it's like, you got to beat those big tier teams to get in.
It's definitely a more favorable. If that ended up being Tennessee's 3 teams, it's definitely more favorable for Tennessee going forward than it would be a lot of other teams. Um, I do want to get your thoughts here in just a minute on who you think the 3 permanent opponents for Tennessee are going to be, but I also want to go in and say I love this as well. I've been an advocate for the 9-game schedule for quite a while. Give me more SEC matchups. Give me the harder schedules. Yes, we might lose more games in the conference, but if you end up winning out in the SEC, it's going to make it. I'm not going to say it's going to make it easier, but you're going to be that much more prepared to play against whoever the best team out of the Big 10 is, the best team out of the ACC, the best team out of the Big 12. I love this. Give me all of this right here. Now, as far as the permanent opponents go, you mentioned it. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. You could go by actual true rivals and make it that way, in which Tennessee's true rivals would probably be Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Alabama, in my opinion. You could say Florida,
Yeah.
but ultimately, when you go over the history of it, the 3 biggest rivals that Tennessee has is Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Alabama as far as the longevity goes.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to go that way, or do you think they're going to go with something more like what I sent you and Skylar earlier, where they're going to make it more competitively balanced, in which I put Tennessee's three opponents as Vanderbilt, Alabama, and South Carolina? Your thoughts? What do you think the SEC does on this?
I think that it's going to be every man for himself when you have that conference room, because I don't I think a lot of people who are at the higher end of it understand the stakes of it. What the SEC is going to want is what's going to make us the most money.
Yeah.
What is going to cause viewership? Well, I mean, we know the Tennessee and Alabama cause viewership. We're probably going to keep that one. Does Tennessee and Vanderbilt do it, or do you put Vanderbilt with Missouri and
Well,
Kentucky?
so here,
You
all right,
know,
here's my counter on that one. Are they really going to take away an in-state rivalry every single year with Tennessee and Vanderbilt? Because I feel like that one is the absolute surefire lock for Tennessee is Vanderbilt, just because of that in-state rivalry. I
Y-
get what you're saying that it's about the money, but are they really going to take that one away?
I couldn't see them doing it, but in a well, I could. I'm 50-50. I mean, I really just think that it's more so about, like you said, rivalry is important. But if you're not getting viewership on rivalry, then what's the stakes? And no, well, all offense to Vanderbilt, is it really even a rivalry just because they're in state? I mean, that to me is the biggest thing. Maybe it's kind of like what they do in soccer. You know, they kind of club you up and club you down every season. We're like, all right, you're going down to the lower tier. Let's just kick you down. I-
Yeah, I've got some thoughts on that as well. If we end up going to super conferences, but
yeah.
that's a topic for another day. So
Yeah, I guess if I had to, if somebody gun to my head and said you pick three teams, I'm probably going to be with you. I'm going to say it's going to be Vanderbilt, it's going to be Kentucky, it's going to be God, Alabama. I just can't fathom not playing Georgia and obviously Florida. But I couldn't be happier to get out of Florida. Florida is awful.
yeah. Yeah, but the reason I brought up the whole competitive balance thing is because let's just take a team like Alabama for instance. Granted, Alabama is a year in year out they're a very competitive team. They're always one of the top teams in the conference, at least since Nick Saban got there. Their three rivals quote unquote, would probably be Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU.
Yeah.
Those are three tough teams that they would be playing year in and year out. So as far as a competitive balance goes, do you go with something more like they're going to keep Auburn and Alabama? That Iron Bowl is going to stay.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to keep that Tennessee Alabama game that third Saturday in October. And do you end up putting in with an opponent like Mississippi State for that competitive balance?
And again, you're having to pair threes, and there's 16 teams. So
Mhm.
to me, it's just difficult to put a number on it. Somebody's going to get the better end of the bargain. I mean, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
But but then again, if we do it about competitive leveling the playing field, what happens if you got it? I mean, Missouri came into the SEC year one and year two and made the conference championship. Where I mean, yeah, they've been
That's
okay, but my
yeah.
gosh, are we looking 3 years? Are we looking 10 years? What are we looking at?
Exactly. That's the other thing of it too. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I've got my list, my theories of what I think that is how they're going to kind of do it. I haven't finalized it yet. I sent you and Skylar both my
Yeah,
list earlier of what I think it's going to do. I think it's going to be very similar to that. There's probably going to be a couple of changes, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
yeah,
So my last thoughts on this, I'm going to open this up to you as well. So, there's been talks about a partnership with the Big Ten as far as the scheduling goes. And a lot of that issue was because the SEC had not gone to a 9 game schedule yet. Do you think with the SEC officially announcing this, we're going to see a partnership with the Big Ten now where that other Power Five opponent is going to be a team from the Big Ten more often than it would be a team from the ACC or the Big 12?
yeah. I do, I do.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And you can tell by the tone of a lot of these head coaches. Kirk Signetti, I mean, coming out and saying it's like an SEC schedule or whatever he said. A lot of the undertones are always going to be about getting an advantage in recruiting and in money. I mean, that's the two things they're looking to get an advantage in. The one big differentiator with the SEC, other than talent, is going to be, well, you're playing that talent each and every week. So your competition, iron sharpens iron. So I mean, the Big Ten, they're looking to get on the same playing field as the SEC. That's just one step closer to that merger that I see coming in the next 10 years, probably sooner.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I absolutely think that that's what this is introducing. And again, it makes let the rich get richer at this point, because both of those conferences are going to benefit from seeing cross conference play. It's going to be good for everyone. So,
I
except for
mean,
the
it's
teams that
basically
lose.
exactly. I mean, it's basically going to be one step closer to the SEC and the Big Ten eventually breaking away and making their own super conference. I for the college sports sake, I hope that it doesn't happen, but for the competitive sake of it, give me all of that. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening,
Yeah.
but I'm super excited. I know you are as well, as far as this new 9-game conference schedule goes. I mean, give us more competitive games. It's gonna suck as far as trying to go and watch a game, because those games are gonna be more expensive. These UT Chattanooga games, these UTEP games, all that. It's great to get fans in the stands. You know, people like me and you, that we might not go to a ton of games out there. We try to get to some of those games because the tickets are cheaper. You're not going to get as many of those, but overall, I'm fine sitting at home on my couch watching the game and seeing competitive ball out there than I am traveling up to Knoxville and seeing Tennessee beat down UTEP, or we'll say Kent State, 75-0 or
Yeah.
whatever the score was last year. I
Yeah.
mean, give me the more competitive games.